I had a countdown and we're live, mate. Okay. Right then, guys. So I feel a bit strange, Greg, because I know we're in your group as well, but we're in my fat loss group, Fat Loss with Sam. We're live on the in Greg's private sort of forum as well on Facebook, and we're also live on the SOS page. So a lot of people should be tuning in, which is great. So I thought I'd jump on with Coach Greg to talk to you guys tonight about stress. Obviously, it's a stressful time at the moment with the current pandemic, and it's affecting people in different ways. But not a lot of people actually realize what stress is, Greg. Do they? They get it. They get it confused. So, firstly, Greg, how would you sum up strength? Well, I should stress.
Stress, even. So when we talk about, when people talk about stress, the problem is they don't associate it, that all stress is kind of created equal to a certain extent, and stress is different for different people, right? But stress is anything that pulls your body out of something that's called homeostasis. So basically, it takes your body out of natural balance. So if that's work stress, emotional stress, physical stress, like infection, someone punching you even, they are all stressors. And the thing that people tend to forget about it is no matter whatever stress that is, the body responds in the exact same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go on.
So based on that, like a lot of people, I had a call today. Well, not a call, but I was coaching one of the girls in my group, and she might be tuning in. I won't name her name, but she might know who she is. And she's had a little bit of a hip injury lately, and she's been doing a lot of running. But she enjoys running because it's an emotional release for her. Okay, which is great. She's been doing 2 5K runs a week, plus 4 of our semi-private sessions, plus a conditioning session. And even though, and I think a lot of people are guilty of this, even though it's relaxing for her because she's away from the kids, she's away from Zoom, she's not working, it's still stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the body can't cope with an infinite amount of stress. So, how would you approach someone like that in your coaching practice who they enjoy training and they look at training as a stress relief, when actually we know it's not a stress relief, it's actually adding stress?
So that's the idea between eustress and de-stress, right? And it's about trying to create that balance, like eustress being like a stress that is acute, so it's short term. It will put you into a stress response, but then you can adapt, right? So you adapt and you become better. So talking about the lady you're speaking about who does her 5Ks, she probably saw it initially as eustress. She feels better. She can respond to that stress. But all of a sudden, with everything else that goes on in people's lives, right, there's a tipping point.
Mm-hmm.
So it hits a stage where, like any bell curve, she's getting better, she's getting better, and all of a sudden she falls off the edge of what her body can naturally adapt to, especially with COVID, with working from home, homeschooling, all the different things that tend to come with it. So with someone like that, you need to figure out what stressors maybe you can pull. So if that's training for her, is it looking for ways to recover better? Does she need more calories, right? Yeah. So calories help us repair, they help us recover from those stresses. So does she need more calories? Does she actually just need a stirred word and told, right, you need to scale back now?
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be interesting to know what advice did you give her?
Well, basically, I just said to her, don't do the 2 5Ks, just do the 1 5K. So just go back a little bit, just especially because you've had an injury now. So and we'll see how that goes now. But the next step is obviously increasing calories, because this lady's done amazing. She's 14 kilos down since March, which is phenomenal. And she looks so lean. She's so lean. So it's definitely time for more carbs and more calories in the future. But yeah, so going back to homeostasis. How does the body actually get into homeostasis? Is it something that we know we're there? Is this something we can measure or manage? Or
so, like with physical management, you can look at like the stuff that we tend to track with our clients. So you can look at heart rate and blood pressure are normally 2 very clear markers. So like gold standard of a resting heart rate might be 50 beats per minute. Yeah. As you creep above 60, you're starting to realize that the body is stressed. It's in that stage of fight or flight, right? and you can see the knock-on effects from that. You'll see it in people's sleep, you'll see it in people's digestion, because it's important to remember your body perceives threat, right? So when your heart rate is up, for fellas more so with blood pressure, when your blood pressure is up, you perceive threat all around you, whether you notice it or not. That's what the body's kind of programmed to do. So your body sees yourself in fight or flight all the time. How is it going to let you have restful stress to recover if it perceives threat? It doesn't worry about anything long-term for you anymore. I know we've discussed this on lives before. It doesn't care about your long-term goals anymore. It cares about instant gratification so you can reduce that stress, so you can feel good now. And people tend to then, like, you know, when you get home, stressful day, you're thinking with what, like we've read in books before, like when people talk about chimp brain or lizard brain, it's the primitive part. And now all it thinks about is the stuff that'll make you feel good right now. So, like, you know, sex, drugs, food, whatever it is, you reach out for that. You eat loads of food, you drink a bunch of booze, all of a sudden, like, your prefrontal cortex turns back on because you're less stressed now. And then, because then your decision making comes back, right? So it's instant regret. And that's the cycle people tend to go through when they're dealing with fight or flight every single day. And like I said, they always think, you know, oh, I'm gluttonous, I'm lazy, I've no self-control, when really the body's doing exactly what it should be doing. It's seeking out something to make it feel better now.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I do a lot with, well, I've got a client in Belfast I train online, and she's doing amazing now. But she was like overtraining. Like every single day she would train, and it would be like a race. It was, you know, she triathlon itself is a very hard sport. It's 3 sports in one. And every time she would train, she would absolutely batter herself. A bit like we do with campers on a Saturday and Sunday. We just go hell for leather. It's 50 minutes of torture, you know. And some men absolutely love it. They love that euphoric feeling. But getting the data back from Anne-Marie in Ireland, her HRV was just plummeting and plummeting and plummeting. So HRV, guys, stands for heart rate variability, and is a great indicator in terms of your readiness. Now, I can remember Phil Richards when I did a course with him, really good strength and conditioning coach based in Worcester, you know, and he said, you shouldn't really train unless you can gain. If you're an athlete, you know, of course, there's times when we need to push a bit more and maybe overtrain, but then overtraining needs to be followed by over recovery, where we actually get our super compensation phase, where we actually build muscle tissue and lay down new tissue and go into new boundaries. So, you know, I'm all for training hard and having those really tough workouts, but you can't do that every single day. You know, you're going to, like Greg said, things like digestion, sleep, mood, irritability, even things like your skin quality, your sense of happiness will all sort of start decreasing. So a great tip, guys, is if anyone does think, oh no, this is bullshit, I love the HIIT workouts, do your HRV. Yeah, take your blood pressure, like Greg is saying, and have that biofeedback, and you will see that type of training, yeah, it's fantastic once or twice or maybe 3 times a week if you can recover, but doing it every single day is just going to dig a deep hole, and it's ultimately going to mean you become a worse athlete. Okay, so have you got anything to add on that, Greg? Have you had experience with clients that are overtraining and just because they love training?
Yeah, like, I mean, I train a lady in Swansea. She's a gym owner as well, and I remember we were going through a particular stage where, like, Sam knows way more than I do about this. Gym ownership, man. People ask me now, do you ever want to own a gym? And I'm like, no, that doesn't sound like fun. But really stressed. Used to take part in all her sessions with her clients, you know, would teach. Then she would be doing the lifting that I was giving her, and she, like, her heart rate was at 73, 74. So what I actually with her was increase her calories a little bit, pulled back on training, and we made her meditate at night. So she started to get better sleep. Her heart rate dropped so quickly, and then boom, 4 kilos dropped off her in about 10 days. Now, I'm not saying that all those 4 kilos were fat. I'm not. But she expressed the fat loss that she had been achieving throughout the previous few weeks. And her body finally almost gave her permission to drop that water weight. She was sleeping better, pooping better, and everything else just kind of falls in place then. Because we always talk about calories in, calories out. And yeah, 100%, no matter what, everything is just affecting energy balance. But people underestimate how much stress affects energy balance.
They call that the whooshing effect, don't they? Where you just get a big drop in scale weight, literally within a case of a few days, just when the body holds on to, we think it's because it holds on to more water, right, in a stressful state. When the body's inflamed, it can look a little bit more puffy. That's what sometimes can happen. So we got a question here from Chris. So guys, feel free to ask questions. Me and Greg just come on for a chat tonight. And by the way, we're going to try and start doing this once a week. We're going to go live in our private members group once a week to do a proper training where we'll actually be organized and have a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
And then we'll go live once a week for more of a Q&A. And we're happy to answer people's questions. But so Chris is saying, is HRV accurate way to measure stress when on blood pressure medication?
That's a good. It is a good question. I would probably ask first is, why is it a genetic issue? So why is your blood pressure so high in the first place? Does the blood pressure medication bring your blood pressure into adequate range? So if you can answer that quick, that'd be great, because then I can give a little bit better information on that, because people underestimate actually what good blood pressure is. The studies are, I would say the doctors are a little bit behind on the studies now, because actually, like, gold standard, I think your gold standard, aren't you, Sam? I'm a little bit off mine, but it's about 120/80.
Yeah.
So, like, will HRV be accurate? It will probably will be, like, it'll tell you you're stressed because I'm severely obese and it's very high. So, like, yeah, that's like, so basically, the first thing you've got to deal with is probably the blood pressure issue or the body fat issue. I know that's a really simplified way of looking at it, Chris, because say, oh, just drop the weight. I know it's that easy, right? Yeah. But that will be the first thing, rather than dealing with HRV to see your recovery, is trying to deal with your actual weight that you're carrying.
Yeah, and you've got to, whenever you change something as well, you need to make sure, like I always say in the gym, compare apples to apples. There might be a difference in HRV if you've reintroduced the blood pressure medication. But what you'll probably find is if you start training doing your HRV while you're on blood pressure medication, and you continue to do it, at least you can see the trend. It might not be completely accurate, but at least you can look at the trend to see if it is actually improving. And resting heart rate's another good one to look at.
That's probably a better way of putting it, actually, Sam. Like, so yes, I don't know the interactions between HRV and blood pressure medication, but if you're still on the medication and you're checking your HRV regularly, it's apples to apples, right?
Yeah, and that's the key with it. It's just to keep it simple. And how you do your HRV, just download an app, Elite HRV, buy yourself a polar heart rate monitor. I do mine every morning. I was a 10 today. Yes, okay. But it's funny because Saturday I had a Chinese takeaway, all right? And I went for it. Chicken balls, Mel loves a takeaway on a Saturday. And normally we have a Greek, and it doesn't really affect my my HRV too much. Charlotte, one of the members of the gym, always has a bit of banter with me because whenever we have a Maria's Greek, my HRV is always 10. So, I don't know whether it's good quality food or it's just magic. But we had a Chinese takeaway, and my HRV plummeted to 4, which is the lowest it's been. So, it's not just, eating processed food and things like that. It's stressful on the gut. I felt a bit bloated. In the morning when I woke up, I did my HRV. I felt a bit tired, and I was waking up in the night a lot. And whenever I have a Chinese or Indian, the salt, the high sodium intake makes me thirsty. So I always wake up 2 or 3 times in the night wanting a drink of water, which is rare for me. So it just goes to show that there's many factors that can affect recovery and, cause stress, basically. So, yeah. So thank you, Chris said. Great information.
That's a good question.
Someone said they're guilty of this. Obviously, because we're in 3 groups, we can't see who that is. But yeah, a lot of people are guilty of overtraining. We got another question here. Awesome, Sam. Question: how do you cope with someone who cannot stop working, aka feeling lazy? Someone's ringing me. Someone's phoning me there. All right, should have planned for that. How do you someone aka lazy if he or she isn't working or productive? So how would you do that, Greg? If someone just feels like they constantly have to be productive?
Look, I can sympathize with that. It's something I struggle with myself. My wife will tell you. I almost feel guilty if I'm not working, But the one thing I did do recently, especially since lockdown, is I gave myself clear guidelines of when I work, and I give myself specific targets for the day to complete. So if and when I complete those tasks, and there's no scientific, I'm not giving a scientific method here, I'm just saying what works for me. Once I actually complete those tasks, my phone now goes off and my laptop goes down. And whatever I want to do with my time off, if she feels like she's being lazy, he or she, sorry, it could be a matter of like she can do things with that time. It doesn't have to be sat in front of the television, but it can be something towards maybe another target, reading. You know, if she likes going for walks, I keep saying she, I don't know if it's a she, or there's other factors where she can use that for her training time. But I'm only giving you advice on my own experience because I tend to struggle with that as well.
Yeah, what I would add to that is, what I always do is the night before is get my diary out. I buy Zoe and me a diary every year. I'll get Greg one if he becomes a bit more organized. All right, we buy like a program. And what I do every night is I'll just have 5 minutes for myself. Have a little cup of tea or whatever, and just sometimes do it watching telly. If Mel's watching telly, I'll just get my diary out and think, right, what's the 5 things that I would like to do tomorrow? And I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the first 3 are non-negotiable. All right, and I always try and get to the last 2 if I got time. So I think we're guilty sometimes of trying to do too much. This was me. I had a self-sabotaging syndrome probably about a year, 18 months ago, where I found it hard to pass on control. And we've got such an amazing team at the gym. Greg, Zoe, James, Bex, Gav, we've got such a great team of trainers there. Passing on responsibility has been one of the best things I can do. I've outsourced a lot of work to a virtual assistant, so I'm trying now to look at the stuff I'm doing on a weekly basis. The things that are least important that need doing, can I outsource them to someone else? And that means that I can try and spend more time on the activities and that are more important to grow the business and actually help my clients and work in our area of genius. I think a lot of us as coaches and humans, we feel like we need to do it all, whereas sometimes we can just outsource things, and it'll save us a lot of time, and we'll probably do the tasks a lot better then because we'll have more energy towards them. So don't know if that helps, but you've got to schedule downtime. Whack it in your diary, whether it's a massage once a week or whether it's training time. If you're trying to squeeze in workouts, that's the first place you're going wrong. Between 11 and 12 every day or whatever it is, put it in your diary, you're going to work out or go for a walk. If you don't put in the diary, it might not happen. So I hope that's useful. So Greg, if people are stressed right now and struggling to train in the pandemic, what advice would you give to people? Maybe they haven't trained for 2 or 3 months now. They thought gyms would be open by now. What advice should you have from a stress management point of view for people just getting back into training?
Well, so I think we probably all saw a lot of stuff come out on social media last time when the gyms reopened, and it was a case of, take it easy, because I haven't done much training since we went into lockdown. And I know when I do start back again, which will be soon, it's going to be a slow, steady approach. We're all guilty of just going in and absolutely hammering yourself the first session back and trying to keep up with the standards that you had set yourself before we went into lockdown. All it leads to is massive DOMs, 3-4 days, your arse is in bits, your quads are in bits, your chest is in bits, and then it leads into 3 days of minimal movement. So even if you're not doing anything at the moment and you're not even hitting a decent step target for a basic start, go for a walk. And I know it's such simple advice, but it's missed. Sam will back me up on this. It's missed by so many clients, and the reason why is it's hard. You can't sell steps to someone, so it's not pushed that much. But steps, like we've had clients, like Hugh's perfect example, walked off the best part of 20 kilos just with step count. Yeah.
And that's it. And I'm embarrassed to say I'm on less than 5,000 so far. Going out for a walk after tea to get my minimum of 10,000. Okay, so which is great. So right, have we got any more questions coming in? I don't think we have. So talking about me and Greg have been busy today. We've been on a call today on Zoom. We've been creating a new group. Well, I've been explaining now to Greg how our group coaching program works. Basically, when the last lockdown hit in March, I created a program called Project Health. and it's been going fantastic. We've had members losing. Well, one girl, Holly, lost 5 stone, which has been phenomenal. Victoria, I mentioned earlier, she's lost 14 kilos, which is ridiculous. So people are doing really, really well, and it's a low barrier entry because everyone typically follows the programs we're doing at SOS, which are tremendous and they work. And all you need is a Swiss ball and bands. And the main thing the group provides is help, support, accountability, and 24. Well, don't get me wrong. If you text me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to get back to you. So I can't really say 24/7 support, but around the clock support. From the moment we wake up till 8, 9 at night. If you need anything, we're there with accountability. So guys, if anyone is interested in having some help, having experts like Greg and myself in your corner helping you, I've got my group. Greg's going to have his, but he's in my group and I'm also in his. So we're there to support each other. If you want access to workouts, if you need help with anything to do with nutrition, you want a meal template to follow, you're really struggling to move forward with your goals. We're not selling a magic bullet. It's hard work. You've got to train, you've got to do your steps, you've got to drink your water, you've got to do the basics really, really well. But if you just look at our website, I'll post it in the comments section for anyone that wants to see the results we're getting with normal human beings, even in lockdown, is phenomenal. You do not need a leg press to lose body fat. You do not need a 4.5 grand squat rack. It can be done with stability ball, bands, and body weight. It's not sexy, but it's working. And a new woman joined the program last week, and I know Greg's had a few sign up today. And the analogy I use is, look, it might be slow without the gym, but imagine you can lose 1 pound a week. Okay, yeah, we know that shit. It should be more, all right? But imagine you lose 1 pound a week for the next 8 weeks. Gyms might be closed until May, all right? That's the reality. Okay, so imagine you lose a pound a week. That means you could lose another 10 or 12 pounds by May. Or you can go the other way and you don't train, you think, fuck it, all right, and you can put a pound on. That means when the gym's open, you'll be 16 pounds heavier, all right, than you could be because you go 8 one way or 8 the other, all right? And life is all about those 1% margins. You either take a 1% step in the positive direction or you take a 1% step in the negative direction. Not many people right now are maintaining. You either go in the one way or you go in the other. So, it's up to you which way you go. I'm not going to judge you. I'll be really busy if people decide to go the other way come May when the gyms do reopen, and Greg will as well. But if anyone does need any help, guys, just comment below. As you know, me and Greg, we're not hard salesmen or anything like that, but we just got into this industry because we want to help people. And a lot of people right now, they are struggling with direction, and the main thing they do need is a roadmap, and they need accountability, they need help, they need support, they need motivation. And that's what our group coaching program does provide. So guys, if anyone is struggling, just let us know. Me and Greg are going to give away 2 calls each this week. Okay, we got time. That's why we're doing this on a Monday. So we can schedule you in and we'll have a little chat to you just to see where you're struggling right now, to see if we can actually help you. All right, so if you're watching the replay and this isn't live, you can still comment. I'll still get a notification and I can book you in with Greg or myself, if you prefer, just to have a chat, just to see if we can help you, because that's why we got into this industry, guys. Yeah, we didn't get into it for the money. Yeah, Greg was in sex, drugs, and rock. It was about the money back in Dublin.
And well, if you did think it was about the money when you were getting into it, you'd learn pretty quick it's not.
Yeah,
so we lasted this long.
Yeah, we lasted this long. All right, guys. So, Greg, really appreciate you coming on tonight. Anything you want to add, mate, about the stress or anything like that? Any take homes for anyone?
So if you think about try and find that one thing that you enjoy, and it can be anything. So dealing with clients in the past, for some of them, it's been an hour on computer games, and it's their one thing. And finding that one thing, I know it's difficult when we've got kids. Sometimes we forget what that is. But if you can schedule you time for 1 hour a day, will make a huge difference to your progression in training, in your weight loss, in just general decision making. So if you can figure out whatever that is, meditation for some, computer games for others, just that one thing, it'll make a huge difference to your progression.
Yeah, great stuff. So we'll go live again next week, Greg, and we'll have a different topic. And, if anyone's got any questions in the meantime, like I said, comment below, guys. And even if it's not on the live, which we're going to finish soon, we'll still get back to you and have a chat. All right. Cheers for that, Greg. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks for everyone.
See you all soon.